Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Michael Wald, the Blood Detective, and today we're going to answer the question, should you take a multivitamin? And this idea is based on a trending article right now from Time magazine. So let's get into this. First, just a brief introduction of me. I'm a doctor of chiropractic with a board certification in nutrition. I also have a master's degree in nutrition, and I'm a dietitian. I provide acupuncture to my clients, and I'm a life coach, and I do have an MD diploma, but not an active medical license. So this information, which I have put together in such a way that it should be actually practical for you to know, is for your education. It's not meant as a substitute for sound medical or health advice. So what did the Times article essentially say about a multivitamin? And here it is. Healthy adults with balanced diets typically don't need a multivitamin. And I'm going to let you know why I disagree with most of these points. Daily multivitamin may help older adults slow cognitive decline. So that's a big problem in the United States, cognitive decline and dementia. So anything that slows it down to any extent is pretty good. And that's what a multivitamin has been shown to do with no side effects. Most studies show little benefit of a multivitamin in preventing cancer or heart disease. May or may not be true. Just hang in there. There's no reduction in overall mortality, which was confirmed by large trials apparently. Multivitamins may help those with deficiencies, poor diets, or specific health needs. Now that one is a loaded sentence because listen to this. Multivitamins may help those with deficiencies, and it's been estimated that more than half of the United States population has a half a dozen or more nutritional deficiencies. So that means at least half of the population could potentially benefit from a multivitamin. And then it says here poor diets, which almost everyone has in this what they call standard American diet, the SAD, standard American diet, which is sad, okay? And then specific health needs. Well, if you're over 50, 60% of those over 50 do not absorb normally. So that opens a huge amount of people to the potential benefits of a multivitamin. And for many, especially older adults, a once-a-day multivitamin might offer some modest support. I'll take modest. So let's get into this a little bit more. So first of all, you should know that the New York Times was referring to a multivitamin with this combination of nutrients: vitamins A, C, D, E, and K, and then a bunch of B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, and B12, and various minerals such as calcium, magnesium, selenium, zinc, iodine, chromium, copper, manganese, and molybdenum. And it also may have included, particularly in the women's multivitamin, iron, because a man should not take iron unless the cause of his anemia is discovered. Cause of his iron anemia is discovered. There's more to say about that later. So what is a multivitamin and who should take it? So a multivitamin is a supplement that contains a large mixture of essential vitamins and minerals. It helps fill nutritional gaps not covered by the diet. And I'd have to say that most people that I've nutritionally consulted over my 33-year career, almost none of them have balanced diets. When doctors say, eat a balanced diet, that's a meaningless statement. Consider taking a multivitamin if your diet is poor, restricted, or inconsistent. If you're a vegetarian, particularly a vegan, if you have any chronic disease, because chronic diseases exponentially increase nutritional needs. And then vegans, as I mentioned, the elderly, especially those with malabsorption. And again, everyone over age 50, certainly 60, has some degree of malabsorption. And then there are malabsorption diseases like celiac disease and also irritable bowel syndrome. But these are excellent cases to consider a multivitamin. And then I'm supposed to tell you that it's important to talk with your healthcare provider before you start a multivitamin. And the sad thing about that is regular physicians have less than 27 hours on average training and 5 to 7 year medical education. So they are not really the right people to ask whether or not you should take a multivitamin, except if you're on certain medications that might contradict or interact in an adverse way with a multivitamin. Then, multivitamin use and lies. So look, I'm going to review with you right now, again, what the New York Times article said, and then I'm going to take each of these points briefly and let you know what's wrong with them. So, a 2018 meta-analysis, that is a real study, found no benefit for heart disease or mortality in men or women. And they claim that was strong evidence. But this study oversimplifies diverse populations of people and nutrient formulations. Not all multivitamins are equal in quality or content. There are many studies that show benefit for women and men in heart disease. They're just saying here that overall, most of the studies say no, but that doesn't mean there isn't a place for particular individuals with heart disease to take a multivitamin. 2023 study showed small cognitive improvements in older adults taking a multivitamin, and there's moderate evidence to support that, so that's quite positive. And then a 2012 study or review found modest memory enhancements in Alzheimer's disease patients, and that's moderate evidence. That's excellent. 2018 analysis showed minor blood pressure reductions. The evidence was weak to moderate there. Long-term male studies showed slightly lower cancer risks, which is great. I'll take slightly lower cancer risks, but no mortality benefit, according to the New York Times. But if you go to pubmed.gov, publishedmedicalarticles.gov, and you search the 6 million plus articles there from 1966 to the present, lots of positive studies will come up showing benefit with those with cancer and for the prevention of a variety of cancers. Most reviews found no consistent benefit for infection or lifespan. Once again, that may be true within the context of the particular people studied, but there are many studies, and I can also tell you, I'm interested. See, look, a medical study on average is supposed to take a sampling of the population, and then they take the sampling, let's say it's 100 people. It may be men, it may be women, it may be a combination, maybe certain ages, etc. And by putting them together, they come up with some average recommendation. So the only problem with that is there's no average person. There are individual people. So if I feel that an individual client needs a multivitamin based on their laboratory work, based on their health conditions, and based on the scientific evidence, they're going to get a multivitamin. And then we're going to check their chemistries and make sure that the multivitamin did what we thought. And I can tell you it happens over and over and over again. Of course, many people need a multivitamin. This article has you think that it's mostly a waste. It's simply not true. And then this slide right here goes into more detail as to why the negative points that the New York Times article made are incorrect. I'll leave that to you. You might want to screen capture that. So why a multivitamin matters with aging and longevity. I thought I should take this point to task. So aging reduces nutrient absorption and appetite, increasing deficiency risk. So therefore, a multivitamin is going to be useful. Chronic diseases and medications can interfere with vitamin metabolism. So practically every chronic disease, it will exponentially increase nutritional needs, and a multivitamin could help fill the gap. Malabsorption syndromes, gastric bypass, irritable bowel syndrome, celiac disease, and 60% of those over 50 without any specifically defined disease simply do not absorb normally anymore. And even though they may eat a so-called balanced diet, whatever that is, what we eat and what we absorb are two different things. So people say, you've heard that old adage, we are or you are what you eat. You're not. You're what you absorb from what you eat and what you activate from what you absorb from what you eat. And then there's poor nutrition just overall, which accelerates aging and inflammation. Multivitamins also support the immune system, cognition, bone health, energy. Why? Because they contain minerals and B vitamins that are essential for the energy pathways in our body. As part of a longevity plan, a multivitamin is sort of nutritional insurance, as they say, against age-related decline. And then increased nutritional needs. Many Americans lack sufficient intake of vitamins D, B12, magnesium, calcium, iron. I can go on. There's several others. Pollution, even something like pollution that we're exposed to, significantly reduces our B vitamins in our body, and also exponentially uses up our minerals and increases oxidative stress, which also exponentially increases the need for vitamins to cope with that oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is inflammation. Inflammation in this case is bad. Emotional stress depletes B vitamins, magnesium, and zinc. So if you have any emotional stress, you probably do need a multivitamin. And then I mentioned a few times that aging reduces nutrient absorption, especially of B12, vitamin D, calcium, and iron. Those are the more common ones, but there are many others after that, and I know because I test them on people. Poor sleep is linked to low levels of vitamin A, D, E, and magnesium. A high quality multivitamin with active forms of the nutrients in them help offset these and other stressors. And I mentioned active forms. So there are cheaper forms of vitamins that need to be activated in the body, and then there are slightly more expensive ones that are already active, and that means the body can deal with them much more efficiently. So when I'm dealing with a client trying to determine whether or not they need a multivitamin or any other nutrients at all, I start by a careful health intake, reviewing all of their health concerns and their health goals, their health history, of course, looking and reviewing the results of all tests they've had in the past, looking for all of the nutritional connections there, and then deciding upon what tests I might want to do to see if this person has deficiencies or insufficiencies of a variety of different nutrients. That's how you figure out if someone needs a multivitamin or anything else. You simply check the levels. And then I compare people's laboratory work to healthy individuals, not merely average people, which is what your doctors do. And that interpretation is also associated with lots of different nutritional issues that are uncovered that when you compare people to healthy people that do not show up on the regular testing. And finally, whatever we decide to do in terms of giving a multivitamin or other nutrients, we do the appropriate laboratory tests and make sure that as they improve, the person is improving. So I hope this was useful. This is a bit of practical information about whether or not a multivitamin is a waste of time or not. I suppose you'll have to make your own decision. Thank you, and I'll see you at the next podcast.